Good morning, everyone. What is going on? We are live here at Anime Iwai. You can hear the background music, which I may end up getting a copyright hit. Thanks, Anime Iwai. Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, we're here on I forgot the episode number of the South Florida Gamers podcast, but you already know who I am, Silverback Senpai, and my co-host with the most,
Waluigi. What's going on, guys? This is episode 43. This is...
Episode 43?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so it's episode 43, and you may think that our layout is kind of different and whatnot, because, let's face it, it is a bit different, but we're going to rock with the two-camera setup and just, go ahead and win with it as usual. So, with episode 43, and then, of course, me and Waluigi being here on this podcast to do another panel, this will pretty much be our final panel for 2021.
Yeah. This is like, wow.
You're going to have to pass the mic.
Like, we're going through a lot of conventions, and we're doing a lot of adventures, and this is definitely an honor to be an Anime UI.
Yeah. Though, as I said before, you are going to hear background music. That's something that couldn't be helped. But regardless, we're still going to rock with the show. We're still going to keep going and whatnot. So,
yeah.
Hey, the show must go on despite the, technical issues and whatnot, and some of the background stuff, but some things can't be helped. But either way,
some guy holding up, but that's not important.
Yeah. So either way, it's just that hey, we still got a show to do. We still gotta entertain the audience and let people know who we are and whatnot, so that way they know where to find us, where to follow us, things like that. How did this podcast get started? Well, for me, it was an idea that I had in my mind. Like, I've always wanted to do, like, a gaming podcast, because there are so many different podcasts out there on the internet. There's so many that you can just go from. Like, you'll have some podcasts that are, like, very similar.
Yeah.
And then you have some that are unique. So it's like, how can I make myself different from everybody else that is pretty much doing the same exact thing that I want to do? So as I had this idea in my head, I was like, you know what? I wanted to do like an in-person podcast rather than just 100% online. Like in the past, I've had people ask myself, would I ever consider doing the podcast online, like on a Skype or a Zoom or even a Discord? And I would say, no, I wouldn't do it like that, because there's so many factors that you have to consider in. One being internet connection of your guest and the person that you have on, and you also have to consider their microphone quality,
the background noises and all that other craziness.
Yeah, like so much stuff that also goes on in the background that you cannot control. So I said, you know what, I would rather just do an in-person one, so that way, one, I can have control over the background noise, except today, and when it comes to like the quality of it, that is something that I can control. And then of course I can provide that to the people that are watching and or listening, so that way they can get a nice clean episode of the podcast. Now I will say, in the past when we did start it out, we were kind of rough from
definitely,
how we started and whatnot. Like, we were rough or whatnot, but still we ended up adapting and learning and improving our work and our craft as podcasters, and having interesting topics, having interesting guests, and just overall having a really good discussion. And it's just centered around just nothing but video games, because we're gamers, and my focus of the podcast was to, hey, I don't want to make it about myself. I don't want to make it about Waluigi. I wanted to make it about you, the people, because
we'd like to know.
Yeah, like, we want to know, like, what is your story? Like, what got you into gaming? What are your favorite games? Like, what is your opinions on certain games that are out there, so that way people can know exactly it is who you are and what and the games that you kind of play, that you're following and whatnot, because you don't hear those type of stories in certain podcasts. It's usually just people that are in the industry that are talking, or just, a group of friends just talking about games that are just coming out and whatnot, or any kind of hot topic that is just trending on social media. So I took the approach of, I'd rather it just be people in South Florida, because there's a lot of gamers in South Florida. So many gamers with a lot of different walks in life.
Yeah.
That, there's a story that could be heard, that could be told, that nobody doesn't even know about. So why not have this person on our podcast and let's get to know them. And that way people can get to know them as well. Like, hey, there are these gamers that play different types of games, because you and I, we have asked the same question almost every podcast episode for every guest that we have. And no matter how many times you ask that same question,
it's a different answer.
It's going to be a different
every single
answer.
time.
Every single time. Because you just never know. And I think that's the joy of doing this podcast, is getting to know gamers out there who have very different tastes, very different styles,
different cultures
and things like that. So it's just like it's an amazing experience, and it's an amazing adventure. And I still feel like myself and Waluigi, we are still on this journey.
Yeah.
Like we're still in the early stages. Like
we started in April 2020.
Yeah. Like I still feel like we haven't hit our mark yet. Like I still feel like we're just now getting our feet wet, despite the fact that we're on episode 43.
Yeah.
We're still getting our feet wet, and it's been an awesome ride. It's been an awesome journey.
Hey, how's it going?
So, that being said, I enjoy it every single time. And for those that we do meet at cons, yo, if you want to join the podcast or be a part of the podcast, by all means.
Like, don't be afraid to ask us.
Ask us. Like, ask us. We'll have you on. Just understand that it's going to be 100% in person. Like, it's not going to be just online, phone calls, things like that. It's not. It's going to be an in-person podcast where you're talking with myself, Waluigi, and we're just going to talk video games. And throughout this journey, I would say that the one question that we always get, and it always...
Oh, snap. We got the cheese.
We got the cheese.
This is one of our prior guests, DGK. Just
DGK.
wave high and look pretty.
Wave high, DGK. Yes, you're on camera.
Yeah, we've had this man in 2 different episodes.
Oh, yeah. And now we have him on a 3rd episode.
Oh, gosh.
The man's a celebrity. I'm telling you, man. But shout out to DGK for coming through, man. But, yeah, like, when we started this journey, we was like, yo, I want to know more people within the South Florida community, either if they're not in the competitive scene or just playing it casually. We want you on the podcast. Like,
dude, we've had a lot of like local businesses too that people were gamers and they've always wanted to expand their business and tell us about it, and I find that very unique.
Oh yeah, definitely. And with this journey, I'm telling you, man, I feel like it's just gonna keep getting interesting. I have a feeling like even this year we have done more episodes this year than we did last year.
Yeah.
Because last year we would always do it like every 2 weeks. Now we're almost doing it like almost every week. We're doing a podcast episode because it's just like it just keeps growing and growing.
There's more people to get to know, and I find that amazing.
Oh yeah, and it's just a different story that needs to be told and heard from someone else that just play video games, regardless what age that you are or gender that you are. You haven't experienced gaming, and we would love to hear it, and we would love to share your story out to the masses, to everyone, so that way they get to see that, hey, you have gamers of all different backgrounds, all different ethnicities, you name it.
Yeah.
So I would also like to ask this question. Of course, it's going to be asking the guest, and that is, all right, the question that we always ask is, for our panels is,
what gaming means to you?
Yeah, what gaming means to you. I almost drew a brain fart right there.
Yeah, no worries. But
so for those of you who are gamers or whatnot, the question that we want to ask to you guys, and you can come up and go on a mic and tell us what gaming means to you.
Yeah.
So do we have any volunteers?
Yeah, anyone wants to come up?
All right, go through.
Cheddar boy. Of course.
All right, let me know when I can start.
Oh, we're ready when you are.
Yeah, man, grab the mic.
So, I just grab. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did I just stand up or did I just sit?
Yeah, you're fine sitting.
Okay. Cool.
Literally, be comfy.
Honestly, gaming is everything. Everything. Everything I've ever wanted has come from video games. Like, I can do anything I want in a video game. There's so much limitless imagination. I've played it since I was a kid. Like, it's the one thing that, like, if I have a bad day, I'm gonna play some video games. You know, if things didn't go well in school, I'm gonna play some video games. You know, it was like my coping tool. Like, it was my only way to express myself, be myself while I'm inside my house bored.
Oh man.
So like, honestly, I grew up with gaming. It's really close to my heart. That's why I have my own events and all that stuff. You know, But we can talk about that another time.
Oh yeah,
But-
definitely.
Oh, of course.
Oh, definitely.
That's a whole other thing. But I've always wanted to be in the gaming business. It's always been my passion. It's been a huge thing for me, especially coming to your podcast. It's an amazing time every time.
Yeah, it's fun to have you, man. Every
Best
single time.
podcast in South Florida, hands down, no debate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No debate.
Oh, my heart.
But definitely, gaming is everything to me. Everything.
All right, thank
you,
you.
brother. I can't clap with one hand.
Anyone else? All
My
right.
friend.
I love gaming because I get the feeling from going from an outsider to the insider. When
Yeah.
you're around people who
Grab the
share-
mic.
When you're around people who share everything that you share, it just makes you feel so good. That's what I like about my gaming.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Oh, hi, Litfire.
Hello.
I like the Shayon shirt.
Thank you. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good, good, Peachy.
Feeling very cultured today.
There you go. So I feel like I've answered this question a few times, so I'm going to try to hit you with a curveball with this.
Oh, no.
All right,
I'm not ready for it. I'm kidding.
hit us with it.
So long story short, there was Sigmund Freud, who basically thought
Grab
everything...
the mic, grab the mic.
So basically, Sigmund Freud thought that everything was somehow sexually related. Like if he had a dream about a cup of coffee, somehow it had to be related to sex. So there's a saying in psychology that sometimes a dream about a banana is just a dream about a banana. And where I'm going with this is that sometimes I just want to say that gaming is just fun. Sometimes it could be that simple. It can just be an escape. On the other hand, I feel like it's evolved over the years, and I think now it's become a form of therapy. It's become a way for us to communicate during a global pandemic, the last one, which was 100 years ago. And I really think it's almost the future. I believe in the future, gaming might be the reality. Even who knows, in 300 years, it'll be
Yeah.
like the Matrix or something like that. So maybe it's something different to everyone, but I definitely think it's actually not just a waste of time like I was probably told when I was a kid. I think it's actually a way for us to communicate with each other and connect with people that we otherwise wouldn't be able to.
Yeah,
think
I dig that.
I dig it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Fire out. You got it.
I like that Litfire out. Like, we just gotta go, like, Waluigi out. Now, that doesn't sound cool, actually. I'm disappointed in myself.
Anyone else would like to share some thoughts?
Hello, fellow scout. Sasagio.
You can grab the mic so that way you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's to what he said and what the guy back there said, to a certain extent. You know, like think about gaming 10 years ago. This was just Call of Duty. No one knew anything else, and like it evolved so much to where everyone plays this and that. Like I don't play as competitively as I do now, as I did before, but I still hop on, and I can't imagine life without gaming. You know, because it's always it's a stress reliever, it's anxiety reliever. You know, if I'm overworked, overloaded, I just kick back, I cut on my PS4, and it's just like, it's different, you know, because as a kid, everyone's played the game now compared to 20 years ago. You know, some people didn't have an NES or the Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah.
But now everyone has had at least an experience with, you know, new generation consoles, even PC.
Right.
You know, it's so easily accessible to be a gamer, casually or competitively now. So and my dad, who's like, he's about to be 50, and he plays Call of Duty Zombies with me. like on the
that's
weekend.
awesome.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
My heart. That's actually pretty cute.
Yeah, but it's just like, imagine he's 50 years old, so imagine how I'm gonna be when I'm 50. What is this game gonna be like then? You know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect that.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sasagio. As you can see, I'm a little bit of a Attack on Titan fan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Should we do anime topics? I mean, we're at an anime convention, technically.
I mean, we could talk about anime games. There are anime games that are out there, and of course, earlier we talked about well, you talked to me about how Jump Force is going to be closing their servers or whatnot, which is
Yeah,
tragic. That's all I'm gonna say. It's tragic. But,
I feel bad for the people that spent money on DLC and such.
oh yeah,
So, Jump Force is basically like Super Smash Bros. Of anime, where you have shonen characters fighting against each other.
Isn't that where you mix like Goku with some other random anime that has nothing
Yeah.
to do?
Yeah.
I'm aware of the game. I just didn't hear they were shutting down the servers.
This just
Yeah.
happened on Sunday, actually.
Why would they shut down the
I guess it's more lack of purchases. Like, if you've seen every year, like, a discount was thrown into the game. Like, it used to be $60, but now it's 30, 14. And then it was free on the Game Pass for Xbox. But, yeah, you have characters like Goku, Kenshiro, Gon, Hisoka. I hate him, but anyways. But then you have Madara, Todoroki, Deku, All Might, All For One. You had all these characters fighting against each other in a 3v3. But there wasn't much of a plot. They complained about the story mode and the servers, how you had to find somebody to get a multiplayer match against. There's a lot of struggle to that.
I always felt that with that game, they should have went the 2D route. Like, you look at games like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, they should have went that route. Or I'll even take it a step, like, look at Smash Bros. With all their huge roster of characters from so many different games. Like, you could have definitely pulled it off to where it's just 2D, you have all these anime characters, and then you could still build upon that. Like, I could see Jump Force, maybe 2.0, or maybe in a future title, they go the 2D route, they have about 70 to 80 characters maximum, and it's just nothing but a bunch of shonen characters, and you could definitely run with it, because, don't get me wrong, I do like my 3D anime fighters, but on a competitive level,
It doesn't work.
it really doesn't work, because there's like a lot of cheese, like a lot of annoying cheese factors in this game.
I'm
He
sorry
knows.
for saying your name out loud.
He knows, like, there's a lot of cheese, and
Zoning.
it becomes less fun for the person that's playing, and it doesn't become competitive, because now all people will use is just characters that they know that they can get an easy win with. So if you'd have made it competitive, like a 2D fighter, have all the characters balanced out, I'm pretty sure it could have just, it would have, at least sufficed. Because how many 3D fighters that you know of that are popular and still competitive? There's Tekken, that's about it.
Shrek Super Slam. No, I'm just kidding.
There's Tekken, which is still alive and active. I mean, it's pretty much dead in South Florida, the competitive scene, but
yeah.
that's another topic for another day. But you also have Soul Calibur, another dead game in South Florida that's on a competitive level. And Virtual Fighter, I mean, nope, dead.
There's like one person.
Yeah, but like, you kind of see that with 3D fighters, it's not as competitive, or not too many people go play competitively with those games. It's like, you might as well just stick to a 2D fighter and just call it a day. Or hell, even though it's an anime fighter, right? You don't have to go with the whole 3D looking art. You could just go with the 2D style art. You look at Dragon Ball Fighter Z and just run with it, and just have it just anime characters, run with it.
Yeah. If you want to have a little bit more animation like Street Fighter, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
Even though it's a 3D model and a 2D platform. That's respectable.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Oh, wait, come over here.
Yeah. Grab the mic and we want to hear.
Speak it out, Titan Slayer.
I was gonna say, do you think because of like the shutting down, and was it because of an underwhelming release and too many expectations from the fans? Because when it did came out, me and my friend, we were like going crazy because we were like, oh my god, it's a Shonen Jump game. Because I wasn't a part of the last release for the previous generation, so I was really excited for this. And then it came out and it was a bunch of glitches, a bunch of bugs and stuff. And, and it just ruined the whole experience, the beginning experience. And it's all about the launch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the launch succeeds, you should be good. But it was very underwhelming. Too many expectations from the players.
Oh, I agree.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I seen the launch. I was one of those people excited as well.
Yeah.
Like, I played the beta or demo of the game, and I was just like, as I'm playing it, and I'm just like trying out all the different characters, the movesets and whatnot, I'm like, this game's gonna have some problems when it comes out. It's gonna be fun, but it's gonna have some problems and some issues that's gonna rub people the wrong way, especially on the competitive level.
Yeah.
Because if you have like a fighter like that, if you want it to have some kind of life, you want it to get competitive, so that way the competitive players, they can get into the game and play, and then it's gonna help extend the life of that game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Definitely
Like,
agree.
and especially I think what killed it especially was in the story mode. I never played the story mode, but it was about that whole Gon being racist thing to Piccolo. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Deku versus Piccolo.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, are you a villain? I was just like I paused the game, and I just like laughed. I was just like, what?
It was like when that came out, I felt like that's when everyone was just
That was
like,
funny, though.
shitting on it, you know?
Yeah.
Giving it bad rep.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah. That happened like years ago when it initially launched. I think it was like a couple months after.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's my piece on it.
Gotcha. Like Jump Force, the character roster wasn't that bad. It's
It was
just
respectable.
yeah, it was respectable. It's just that some of the factors that were in the game was just like, nah, this game's not gonna have any legs supporting it for the long run. Because as I said before, if you have a fighter or even a brawler and you want it to be successful, you want it to appeal to your competitive players so that way they can help extend the life of the game. Otherwise, it's just gonna crash and burn.
Oh, it'll die.
Like,
Thankfully.
look at the new Demon Slayer game.
Oh god.
That's similar to the Naruto Storm games. Competitively, ain't nobody touching that.
Nope.
Ain't nobody touching that game.
You guys have to look at YouTube videos if you haven't seen the gameplay.
Like,
Looks nice.
yeah, it's a nice looking game. Wait.
It's Ninja Storm coded in Demon Slayer.
Ninja Storm
Yeah.
coded in Demon Slayer.
So what you're talking about 3D versus 2D is when you have 3D, I don't care how good your system is, it's not gonna run as smooth as the 2D games.
Yeah.
So there's just too much, like you're saying, cheese of I press guard, sorry, I press guard, and then you get hit through a combo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
Oh, Wild Steven.
I agree, man.
Yeah. Plus, they introduced demons now as a new way. They have no backup. They can dodge ultimate attacks. We're slowly trying to bring more like diversity into the game, but I feel like it's a little bit too late for that.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to fighters, if you want your fighter to succeed, it's got to be, very competitive, but at least balanced in a competitive aspect, so that way people can play for months and months, even years on end. Because look at a game like Smash Bros, for example.
Yeah.
Like,
There's always a patch update.
yeah,
Or
and
there always was a patch update.
that game still has life.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that game would be on life support. Like, okay, Smash is gonna fade into existence or whatnot.
Hell no.
No. No. I know DJK. You have some. Come on up.
Come on.
Come on up.
I should be scared. No, I'm kidding.
But my honest thoughts on Jump Force, I've only played it a few times. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta give them credit for two. I like to give them the good and the bad side of things, like what I think could be better, what I think I liked. I think the ambition was there.
Yeah.
They brought a large cast of characters. I mean, that was crazy. Like, I saw Yugi in there. I'm like, oh, we sending brothers to the Shadow Realm. Yes. I thought that was crazy to me. But I was like, all right, this is sick. I like this. I think where they could have done a little bit better, like you mentioned, maybe instead of like, I don't think they had to go extremely only 2D, like just 2D. It could have been similar to Tekken. I know Tekken's 3D, but
Yeah.
I call it like 2.5D because the way the movement. But I think like it would have maintained like that competitiveness core
Yeah.
of like the game itself, and it also would have helped to showcase the stages like around them. Like when you have a 2D fighter. Again, some fighters get away with it, but I feel like the background is like you can't show off as much as you maybe would have liked.
Right.
Like in Smash Brothers, when they try to show off a new stage, they have that stage flying around and it's moving around like the area. Like Hollow Bastion, it's not just a tower in the back. Like you move around with it.
Oh, yeah.
See everything.
That's true.
So it is a 2D fighter, but the background is shifting around it. So that's how they manipulate it to keep that like, that aesthetic, I would say.
Oh yeah.
So that's a great way to like maintain that, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I think that's definitely one way they could have done better, just to please more of the competitive scene, bring in more audience to the game. Because I mean, maybe a little bit more dev time, I guess you could say, things like that to iron out stuff like that. But that's my thoughts on it.
All right.
Well said.
Well said, man.
Earlier, I was just trying to figure out my best waifu in case someone asks here.
Your best waifu.
Yes, don't worry about it.
We not gonna get into that.
It's already recorded, so
We're not going to get into that. No, we're not doing that. No, sir.
you didn't see anything on YouTube?
But yeah, as I said before in the beginning of the podcast, one of the best things about doing this podcast is we get to hear you.
Yeah.
We get to hear you, your thoughts on gaming, your perspective, especially on different games, because not everyone knows and I want to be the one to be like, you know what? I want to highlight these people as, hey, I've had this person on my podcast. You should definitely check it out. Tune in and listen to the discussion or even watch the discussion so that way you can get an idea and see what we're talking about. And then, of course, you get to hear someone else's different perspective on gaming.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's also cool when someone just shouts them out, especially have a Twitch or in the middle of the stream, like your friends are supporting you in the podcast.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's always good to get some hype, especially the Smashcast.
Yeah, the Smashcast was, woo!
Yeah, everybody was supporting everybody.
Yeah, that was an awesome.
That was one of the coolest turnouts, actually.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I was just like, I don't know, like every podcast episode me and Waluigi have, we never know where it's gonna go.
Not one bit.
We don't know where it's gonna go. We know the conversation, we know the topic, but we don't know where it's gonna go. Sometimes it could go completely far left, and I'm just like, whoa, okay. Let's take it back. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. We're about to get off a little bit of topic or whatnot. It can get a little chaotic, but overall, it's a great fun time. And usually, every time when we have someone on for the first time, they're a bit nervous and whatnot because they don't know. Like, I've never been on a podcast before, so I don't know what to do or say.
All hell breaks loose, or a chain is broken. People feel unrestricted.
Yeah.
Because it's like you and I talking.
Yeah.
That's what a podcast we like to have, where it's comfortable for everybody. It's comfortable for you and I. Like, we just like to get to know you.
Oh yeah. And of course, after that first episode that we have that person on for the very first time, they'll be like, "Man, this was such a really good episode." Like they feel they're already feeling good. They're feeling excited. It's like, "Yo, I can't wait to be back on again."
Yeah.
And what I also like to try to do is like invite them on to like a group discussion, so that way we can have more different personalities and interesting people from different walks of life. And just talking about, like, last year we had the 8-man podcast, which was chaotic. This year we had the Smashcast, which was, I feel like, above the 8-man podcast to
He's
me.
a witness to this.
Yeah, DGK's Yo,
The amount of beef and a lot of cheese.
Oh, yeah.
That man, we were not ready.
we was not ready for that. Like, and that's a great thing about doing this podcast is hearing about you, like getting around like-minded gamers and just, you know, having fun and talking about games, because well, we do have guests on and we get to hear the games that they've played. It's like, I've never heard about that game before.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, as a matter of fact, it was DGK. Yeah, I hate to point you out. It was you. I'm gonna say no. It was you that got me into Persona 5. Yes, he got me into Persona 5.
I forgot about that.
Because he was talking about how well the game is, the music, the story, the gameplay, and I was just like, all right, you know what? Let me try this game out for myself. Let me see what it is. Let me see what the hype is all about.
Yeah, he's like one of the first guests that actually know about Dead by Daylight besides myself.
I played the game. I played the game. Like the first, I would say 30 hours into it, I was just like, man, he ain't picking up. I was just like, whatever. Like, it was Kamoshiro, the first boss, the gym teacher. Then after you start getting more people into your group, I was like, okay, I'm invested in this story. I'm seeing this to the end, because, like, yo, I want to know what's going to happen next. Like, what the Phantom Thieves are going to be doing and whatnot. And, like, finding out that Akechi was, you know, he also had a persona as well. It was like, how did they find this out? And after it was all, and then you look back in previous episodes, Akechi said something about pancakes or whatnot. And I was like, I completely missed that. I was just like,
What?
I did not know that.
I gotta look at spoilers to follow this up.
Like, it's thanks to him that I'm hooked on Persona 5. I still have not played Royale, so don't shoot me. It's a long game. Don't get me wrong. It's a long game, but it is worth your time. Well worth your time, because guess what? You're in it for the story rather than you're in it for the actual gameplay.
Oh, we got another guest. Another previous guest.
Oh yeah, we do.
Sup, Coconut Weeb? Think I would call you out naturally.
But yeah, like, when you get to have people on and they talk about games that, all right, hey, I recommend you try this game out. And it's like, it's not my genre. Like, JRPGs back then was not my thing.
Never.
Now it's my thing. Now it's like, okay, I want to play more JRPGs because now I'm in it for the gameplay and the story.
Still not my thing, but I'm intrigued.
And then, of course, hearing you talking about Dead by Daylight, which is another game, sounds interesting, but it's just like I gotta find the time of day to put it invest in it so that way I can get into it.
And that's not into horror games. That's also why.
Yeah, I don't do horror games. That's just me. That's just me. But that's the great thing about the podcast is that so many people, different walks of life, playing different types of games, whether they like them or they're just trying it out for the first time or whatnot. It's just you have someone with a different experience, and that's the great thing about gaming is that it's so unique, it's so diverse that everyone has a different experience, but we all have that one similar feeling of just coming together
And experiencing it.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not.
Yes.
Got a question for you.
Sure.
Being 52, I play some modern games, but I tend to fall back on the older games, like Heroes of Might and Magic 3 or Move 2, Masters of Orion 2.
Okay.
Any old school games that you guys like?
Old school games.
Our old schools are a little bit different.
I would say Mario Brothers for the Nintendo Entertainment System, The Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo Entertainment System, Metroid, I played that. For Super Nintendo, I got into Mega Man, I got into Mortal Kombat. Like,
What would mine be?
yeah, like I've played very few games on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then there are even older games than that, which was way before my time, before I was even born. So it's just like, man, there's a lot of history in gaming. Like, it goes for literally generations and generations. Like I would say 10, 20 years, there's like a new generation of gamers. And it's just like, they don't know about the struggles of gaming way back then, which is why it's also a great thing that there are places that have like an actual traditional arcade cabinet or actual old school gaming consoles that still work. So that way that new generation of gamers can try it out, play it, and be like, hey, this is what I used to play back when I was your age.
Shouting out to Flynn's Gaming.
Yeah, this is what the graphics looked like back then. You're just like, what? You guys used to play that? And it's like, yeah. And I would say the great thing about old school gaming, especially back then, is that you would use your own imagination to make the game even more alive.
Yeah. I'd say mine would be like Super Mario, Dig Dug. I used to play a little bit of Mappy. I like Dig Dug for some reason, just digging holes and just blowing up dragons. But like, when you think about blowing up dragons, it's more gruesome than you think about it. A Robot Chicken episode actually got me thinking about that. But then for PlayStation, I'd say Dark Cloud 2 is one of my comfort games. It's like one of those is it a JRPG?
What, Dark Cloud?
Yeah, you ever played Dark Cloud?
I've heard of it. I have not played it.
I'm gonna say yes, and then later on get called out. I'll call out myself later.
Top tier shooters?
Competitive team shooters like Rainbow Six or Overwatch or Valorant.
I like them.
I'll never go near CS:GO. I'm gonna save us now and then play it later.
CS:GO, I like. I have not played Valorant
I haven't either.
because it just skips me. That's just me. Rainbow Six Siege, love it,
I played the beta.
but I haven't played as much of it. But I still love the game. CS:GO.
Would you consider
Siege.
Overwatch a top tier shooter?
Overwatch was really it's a.
I don't know.
I consider it top tier back then, but like the updates that they're doing.
It just sucks, honestly.
It's not gonna get just down the.
They're just there for the waifus.
I do like team-based shooters because instead of you're going in lone gunning it, you're working with a team, and it's just like you have to coordinate with your team in order to complete the objective or win the entire game.
Yeah, I
so
feel like
I like
10%.
that aspect of it because it's just like you're not in it alone, because if you try to do something outside of your team, you can cost your entire team the entire round or the entire match.
Yeah, I feel like the 10% for saying this, but I consider like Gears of War one of those still top tier shooters. Even though most of like the best players are in Mexico, which is actually true.
Interesting.
Fun facts that nobody really knows about.
All right, so before we close it out, what is the one thing that you can take away from gaming that you love and enjoy. And we'll ask this question to all of our guests. Come on up, grab the mic. What is the one thing that you can take away from gaming that you want to share to everyone?
What's on your minds?
What's on your mind?
We got the Titan Slayer again.
Just to start it off. I mean, everyone, gaming is just for fun. Everyone, you could be competitive or casual. It's for everyone. There's a game out there literally for everyone. Shooters, JRPGs. My girlfriend plays Minecraft and Genshin Impact.
Aw.
Two very different games.
Yeah.
I play the same thing, and I play shooters, horror games. I love Dead by Daylight. I do get a little.
My dog, I like you right.
I love being the survivor more than anything. But yeah, everyone, if you haven't played a game, at some point you got to pick up the controller and just give it a try, because there's something out there for everyone.
Outstanding.
Well said, my dude.
All right. Anyone else? You four beautiful people I see.
Yo, weebs. Well, I mean, this is technically an anime convention.
I'll make it quick.
All right.
Queso.
Alright, I think what I could take away for sure is gonna be the bonds that I meet with new people in the scene, things like that. Just not knowing where it's gonna take me.
Right.
Like when I started playing Rainbow Six with my friends, I'm like, this is fun as hell. And then years later, I started playing for FIU, and I was like, wow, I never thought like this would happen. And then I started playing Smash, and I played with my competitive friends in Smash 4. I wasn't competitive. And then they're like, oh yeah, no, we don't play with items and we don't use like half the stages. And I was like,
Oh.
what do you mean? That's boring as hell. And then they're like, no man, this is how we showcase our skill. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to beat you guys up with like shells and crap. And I thought it was the stupidest thing. I thought competitive Smash was like, that just takes the fun out of the game. Now look at me, look at me now, years later, and competing, being able to travel and compete in Smash Bros is just amazing. Like it's crazy how life changes, and like,
And you're a TO.
Yeah.
and I'm a TO now, which is insane. I never thought I would end up here, for sure. Like, you would ask me like 4 years ago about competitive Smash, I would have been like, that's the most boring thing on the planet.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Next.
Anybody?
Come on up.
We can always sit
No.
for you.
Camera shy. I understand.
So am I. Too
right.
beautiful.
Yeah. You want to end it up?
Let's see. We got some. Yeah, I mean, we could.
Yeah, we good. So before we end it out and close it, does anyone else have any final questions that they want to ask of us?
Pick our brains,
Pick our brains. Anything gaming related?
anime related, while we have a couple seconds.
Yeah. If not, then we will wrap it up.
Oh my god, I thought I saw an actual patient, but I realized it's a cosplay. It's a cosplay.
Alrighty, well, this has been episode 43?
43.
All right, episode 43 of the South Florida Gamers Podcast. I will say that when you do listen and rewatch this back, yes, you are going to hear the loud background music and noise and whatnot. And I'm probably going to get a couple of copyright strikes, but it's whatever. At least...
If you hear me singing to Lisa Monday,
At
I'm
least
so sorry.
it'll be available on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and Spotify. At least I'm not going to get copyright there.
Yes.
YouTube, definitely.
At least,
definitely,
at least
without
we know
question.
we'll get likes instead of dislikes.
Yeah. No, they disabled the dislike.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah. Sucks. It sucks. I don't approve of it. But anyway, guys, that is episode 43 of the South Florida Gamers Podcast. Grab some stickers and stuff up here.
We love you guys.
And yeah, we'll see you next week, Sunday, on our next episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down.
All right.